First of all, I wish everyone Happy New Year. And as there were 2 weeks gap in between, we'll start with a quick recap of what we have covered so far. So we started with AWS, and we provisioned few servers from AWS, and we set up prerequisites that are required in Linux for our cluster. And then we have seen concepts of Hadoop, and we set up MySQL, and then we install Cloudera Manager and Cloudera distribution of Hadoop on all the nodes in the cluster. And then we set up Hadoop core components. So I will start from there. I will get into few details as part of the recap, and then we will resume with today's content. Okay, did I start recording? Yeah. So as part of it, so after the installation of Cloudera Manager and the Cloudera distribution of Hadoop, you can log into Cloudera Manager using port number 7180. The host name should be whatever the host you want to. You have installed Cloudera Manager server or Cloudera SCM Manager. Cloudera SCM server, and the port number is 7180. The default username and password once you install Cloudera Manager is admin, and once you log in before adding any services, it will be like this. And then you have to start with Cloudera Management Service. So as part of Cloudera Management, there are 8 services, but we are only configuring Service Monitor, Event Server, Alert Publisher, Host Monitor, and Reports Manager. Reports Manager will give you the reports about your cluster, about the resource usage, etc. Host Monitor will actually monitor each of the hosts. Alert Publisher will actually keep on sending the alerts. I'm not sure about the Event Server. And Service Monitor is, once we install Cloudera Manager and Cloudera distribution of Hadoop, we will configure all the services like HDFS, MapReduce or ER, and then other MapReduce based services. Okay, so before Service Monitor is to monitor all those services. So once you configure them, you can click on Continue, and it will ask you for the username and password for a database called RMAN. And the database name could be anything, but Cloudera Manager default name is RMAN. And you have to give the right host name. In this case, this is the host where we are actually running our database, and the database is MySQL, so you have to change it to MySQL. Host name is the same, it picks the correct host, and for MySQL port number is 3306. It is default. If it did not work, first of all you need to check with your database administrators about the port on which MySQL is running, and then you have to give the username and password. When I created the database called RMAN as part of setting up MySQL, I have given a password name as Hadoop 20. So you can click on Show Password if you want to see the password. You can click on Test Connection to make sure the information you have provided is correct, and then you can hit Continue. So this is mainly for Alert Publisher, and it requires your mail server details. In our case, we have not configured the mail server, so I'm leaving like this, and you will not get any email. But in organizations or enterprises, you have to give correct email server, host name, username, and password, and you need to work with the SAs to get these details. And I'm leaving the rest of stuff as is, and you can hit Continue. So this Cloudera Management Service is nothing to do with Hadoop. It is Hadoop core means in the context of running the Hadoop. A Cloudera management service can be down, but there could be no impact on your Hadoop clusters. This is just to monitor or manage the clusters, not to actually run the cluster. The running the cluster will be taken care by the Hadoop components itself. Cloudera management servers will only facilitate you to monitor the clusters. You can hit continue. Now your Cloudera management service is running, and then you can start adding the services. And before adding the services, I will go to the most important picture. I think I have it in here. On this one. Okay, I think it is in either. Yeah, I think it's here. Yeah. So this is a very important picture you need to keep in mind. The foundation for Hadoop ecosystem, or CDH, which stands for Cloudera Distribution of Hadoop, is HDFS. So you have to start with HDFS, then you can configure MapReduce, and you can configure all the components that use MapReduce for the processing of data which is on HDFS. HDFS is nothing but a storage. It's just a file system. To process the data, either you have to choose MapReduce based solutions or non-MapReduce based solutions. So as part of MapReduce based solutions, you have these many on top of MapReduce, and you can use MapReduce itself to process the data. As part of non-MapReduce, you have these data and these services, and there are some additional services as well. And you can get the list of all the services here. When you click on add a service, you will see this screen, and this will show you all the services which are installed as part of setting up our Cloudera Manager and Cloudera Distribution of Hadoop. So on top of the ones which are there in the list, there are some additional components like Solr, Spark, etc. But they are mostly in beta version, and as of now, Cloudera is not supporting them. They have included as part of the package, but there is no support for these services. But what I'm trying to say is the list which is there in this is not final. You can see more components or more services than these things as part of the list. And first, you need to analyze. Before configuring any service, you need to analyze the dependencies for that service, and you have to make sure that all of them are running as expected. But before starting anything, HDFS is the main service, and you can start with HDFS. But there is a service called Zookeeper, which needs for components like HDFS high availability, for Hive, for HBase, etc. So we will start with Zookeeper instead of HDFS. Zookeeper is not actually Hadoop core component. It is a coordinator service. It can work with Hadoop, and it can work with non-Hadoop based tools as well. So we will start with Zookeeper, and you can hit continue. And Zookeeper requires at least 3 servers. So I am choosing 2, 3, and 4. as Zookeeper services for Zookeeper servers, and hit continue, and it will start running Zookeeper. Once the Zookeeper is done, no, Zookeeper has to be installed on 3 nodes. Zookeeper is just a coordinator service. It can be running on the ones which are running active and passive, or it can be running. It can run on other nodes as well. It's just a coordinator service, and but it need not require that you have to install Zookeeper on active and passive nodes. But if you do that, performance-wise, it might perform a little bit better than if you install Zookeeper on other nodes than active and passive nodes. Okay, so most likely it could be canary. You can ignore it for now; it will go away. And now we will configure HDFS. So I'm giving 502 as name node, 503 as secondary name node. Balancer I'm running on the same as the name node. Balancer is actually to make sure that data is replicated as per our replication factor on data node. So whenever the blocks are either under-replicated or over-replicated, and this balancer service will take care of balancing out the blocks on our data nodes as per your replication factor. Okay, so I'm choosing custom, and I don't want to install data nodes on the masters, so I'm considering up to 6 as masters. So I'm only starting data nodes on 7 through 15. Click OK, and you can hit continue. Okay, so we are using defaults, so let's use defaults and hit continue. And no need to worry with this. Actually, it should show a warning and proceed with starting the services. The reason why it is saying command has failed is I just deleted the service as part of the recap earlier. I deleted HDFS, I deleted Yarn, I deleted all the services, but I haven't formatted the name node. So whatever that I have copied earlier, when we actually use this cluster, is still intact. So as the data is already there, it says that name node is not empty and formatting is failed. That is fine. It is not a major issue here. So you have to go to Cloudera Manager. It's a bug which they have to fix. What you have to do here is, as it failed at the step, it did not continue and it did not start the services. You have to click on this and you have to click on restart or start, and then it will start all the services. You can check the progress by clicking on details. So it is actually starting all the services as per our configuration. Okay, all the services are started successfully. You should not see these kinds of icons. Either you will see a circular arrow or a door with arrow like this. If you see those icons, that means there is some issue with the configuration, and the configurations are outdated. So you have to click on deploy on that icon, and then you have to deploy the client configuration. and you can click on this. And now, now it is started. Again, this could be the canary. Just review. If you see red or yellow, just review what the issue is, and over time you will know whether the issue can be ignored or not. If you can ignore, you can ignore. Otherwise, you have to take the necessary action. In this case, canary is not a issue. It will go away within few minutes, so you can just ignore. So once we set up the HDFS, now if you look at our hosts, we want to use CDH500 as a gateway node. So we want to submit all the Hadoop related jobs or Hive queries, everything from CDH500. So to do that, you have to make sure that you have the gateway service configured on whatever is designated as gateway. Otherwise, you will not be able to run the Hadoop commands or Hadoop jobs. So I will show you the issue first, then I will go back and configure it as a gateway. I am connecting to HD user. Now we think Hadoop 20 is the password. So now, if I run Hadoop SS-ls, it should give the directories from the HDFS. Okay, it is working. I think it has the right configurations. But typically what will happen is if you do not configure it as gateway, it can give you inconsistent results. But in this case, it is giving right results because earlier this node is used as gateway, so it is working fine, but it can behave unexpectedly, inconsistently anytime. So to fix the issue permanently, you have to designate this NoviSync CDH500 as a gateway node. So for that, you have to click on host on top, and then you will see all the hosts in your cluster, and you can actually, no, I'm sorry, not here. You have to go to home, click on HDFS service, and you have to click on instances, and it will tell you all the nodes that are playing a role in the cluster. Okay, in the cluster with HDFS as a service in one way or the other. So to add gateways or even new nodes, you can click on add role instances, and then you can see this gateway. Click on this, and now you can click this thing. I am designating everything as gateway, which is not required. All the nodes that are actually designated as name node or secondary name node or data nodes will have the right parameters. So the commands will work without any issues. But only servers like 500, 505, 506, where there is no data node or name node or secondary name node, you will see some inconsistent results. So to address this issue, I am selecting everything as gateway, and I'm clicking OK. So now you can see that all the servers are gateways, so you can run any Hadoop command to interact with your file system from any of these nodes in the cluster. Okay, again you have to immediately it is saying that there is a stale configuration. You have to click on that, and you can click on deploy client configuration. So once it is done, we want to configure the high availability. Okay, it is now there is an issue with this. It is saying it is in safe mode. The name node is in safe mode. So you can click on actions, and it will list all the possible actions for your name nodes. If it is a data node, it will list all the possible actions for your data node. In this case, it is in safe mode, and we want our name node out from the safe mode. So you can click on leave safe mode. So whenever you start your name node, it will start in safe mode. Safe mode is nothing but a mode where your cluster is coming up. So if you have tons of data, your cluster will not be accessible immediately. It will run for in safe mode until your cluster is reliable, and only then it will come out of the safe mode. And once you come out of the safe mode, you can perform all the possible actions on top of your cluster. When it is in safe mode, you can only do certain activities. You cannot perform all the activities when the cluster is in safe mode. So there are two ways you can come out of the safe mode. Typically, it will come out by itself. If it does not come out, you have to run these kinds of commands. DFS admin -fs. You have to give your name node IP and address, and then space -safe mode space leave. So you can actually translate this into a command line command, and you can actually run this command from here as well. Okay, so it is actually showing what command it is running behind the scenes. So by playing with this, you can learn quite a bit. That's what you have to run. Either you have to either run this command to come out of safe mode, or from the command line, or you have to go to Cloudera Manager, click on the name node, and you can say leave safe mode, and it will come out of the safe mode. Typically, if there are no issues, it will come out without any problems. But if there are any issues, you have to take the action based upon the information that is provided in the logs. And if you could not fix the issue, then you have to contact the support. Most likely, either Cloudera or Cottonworks or any other vendor who is supporting the distribution. You have to follow up with them and get the issue resolved. Okay, so that is about HDFS. Now the issue is gone. Now it is complaining about HDFS missing blocks. We will see. You can click on rebalance. Okay, let's wait for some time. The issue might go away by itself, otherwise we have to fix it. Okay, so now you have the HDFS service, and now we will configure high availability for the HDFS. Okay, once you click on HDFS and once you click on instances, if you want to set up the high availability, you will see the option as part of the instances, and you can click on that. And high availability is related to only the name node. And already we have 502 as a name node. We have to select another name node. In this case, I am making 503 as another name node. One of them will be active and one of them will be passive. And as part of the high availability architecture, you need to have journal nodes. So it requires at least 3 journal nodes. I'm not going into details about the journal nodes and all, but as part of the architecture, you need to have journal nodes as well. Click OK, and you can hit continue. And then you have to give the journal node directory. You can click on continue. Now it is actually enabling the high availability for your cluster. Okay, while it is running, now you have the storage. So as part of this picture, we have the storage configured. Now you need to come up with the processing framework. We have MapReduce and non-MapReduce. For non-MapReduce, the processing framework will change for each of the tools. For MapReduce based tools, MapReduce will be the processing framework. So there is no one de facto standard for non-MapReduce. It depends upon the tool you choose. You have to set up the framework for non-MapReduce tools depending upon the tool you choose. But for all the MapReduce based solutions, you need to have MapReduce as the foundation to process the data. And if you click on add a service, let's deploy the client configuration, and then we will see configuring the MapReduce. Why it is causing the issue? Deploy client configuration. You can click on details. There is already a pending command on this entity. Okay. Let me restart this. Okay, I think I know what is the problem. It is still running. That's why. Yeah, that is fine. It will finish after a while, and the issue will be resolved. Now we need to configure MapReduce service. And for MapReduce, here we are talking about the execution framework. We are not actually talking about developing the MapReduce program. We are actually talking about the execution framework. So once you have MapReduce programs, you need to have a framework to execute them in a designed manner. So there are two frameworks. One is MapReduce or Classic, and second one is Yarn. So MapReduce or Classic is legacy, and it will be decommissioned soon. I have shown earlier how to configure it, and you have to keep in mind about job trackers and task trackers when it comes to MapReduce or Classic. When it comes to Yarn, the architecture is different. You will start seeing resource managers and node managers. They are mutually exclusive. Either you will run your cluster with MRV1 or Classic or Yarn. As Yarn is the roadmap, a future roadmap, I am testing Yarn for the rest of the course, and as part of the recap, I am configuring Yarn directly without going to MapReduce Classic. And then as part of that, you have to specify resource manager. Here, resource manager is a master, and we have configured 2 and 3 for our active and passive name nodes. So I don't want to use 2 and 3 for resource manager. You can use if you want for development and QA clusters, but we are trying to simulate production cluster, and each master should be running on its own node. In this case, 502 and 503 are name node hosts. So I'm using CDH504 as resource manager. Click OK. And the job history server also I would like to configure on 504. Click on OK. And then it will automatically pick up the nodes which are designated as data nodes. So you can look at the nodes, all these nodes from 507 through 515 are data nodes, and the same things are picked up automatically as node managers, because node managers are slaves for the Yarn framework, and resource manager is master. So slaves for processing should be running on the slaves for HDFS. So data nodes are slaves for HDFS, and node managers are slaves for MapReduce execution framework. So it automatically picked them. So you have to review and make sure that node manager is running on all the nodes where data node is running. Here it picked all the right nodes, so you can go ahead and click on OK, and you can hit on continue. And here it is asking for the directories. So it is very important to understand these things because these are the foundation for the rest of the stuff. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in these things. If you understand these things, then rest of the stuff will be pretty straightforward. Any other tool which you want to install, you just need to understand the architecture, the purpose, and a little bit basic information of how to use it. Then you should be able to set it up and you should be able to support it as an administrator. So now click on continue, click on finish, and now everything is as expected, except that name node has again gone into safe mode. I need to let's make sure that okay. HDFS. It on leave safe mode. Close. And then again HDFS. Standby. Leave safe mode. Still it is in safe mode. Let us wait for few minutes. I think it will come out of it. Yeah, now it is in good health. Now let us validate whether it is working or not. So you can run we are playing with the cluster. Actually, we should stop and we should add the services in a typical support case. Here I am just playing with it. So it might go back and forth because of the way we are dealing with the stuff. But typically in companies, you will get a downtime. You will shut down all the services. Then only we'll be setting up high availability and all those things. In this case, we try to set up high availability on the running instances. So that's where we are running into all these issues. Okay, now let us let me close this and connect it again. Okay, there are some missing blocks. I will try to fix that issue later. Okay, so let me connect it again. So we have this large deck.txt. We can see whether the cluster is normal or not by running tail command. User hd user large deck.txt. So data is if it is in safe mode, it might throw an error, but in this case we got the results without much issues. So HDFS is working fine. And now to validate AR, now we have to run a MapReduce job. And okay, now if you see it is running in the local mode. The way you can determine whether it is running local mode is somewhere it will tell you. Yeah, here it is showing it as local host. That means it is running in local mode. The reason why it is running in local mode is we did not configure gateways for ER. So you can click on ER. That's why it's very important that whatever node you want to use as gateway is configured as gateway. So now you can actually click on add all instances and choose gateway and select all the nodes and click on OK. Let me fill the job. Let it run. It is almost done. So click on continue. And now all the nodes are gateways. Now you can click on this door with the arrow. And then you have to deploy the client configuration. Okay, this is a very typical issue. Whenever you turn around the cluster to developers, when they try to run these jobs from gateways, they might see a lot of performance issues and all those things, and then they might not be able to tell you that it is running in local mode. They might say that it is just running on one node, or the performance is very bad or something like that. And you need to troubleshoot the issue from the perspective that whether the gateway, whether the node they are using is actually configured as a gateway or not. Okay, now finish. Now they are designated as gateways. Let me kill this one. Okay, now I am running the job again. And now if you see, it is actually running on the resource manager. And this is the URL to monitor your job. So now it is running as expected. You can actually monitor the job from resource manager web UI. And it is using 17 mappers. And you can track the progress of it. And I will highly recommend you to run jobs in our lab using VM02 host 07 and monitor the jobs and try to understand the relevance of all these links, overview, counters, configuration, map tasks, reduce tasks, and also application master log, etc. Okay, so this is the total recap which we have done so far. And the reason why I have spent almost an hour and explain about all these things is that we got two weeks gap. So I just want to make sure that you understand everything from the foundation, at least from the component perspective, so that you can go ahead and start setting up all the services as part of your cluster. Okay, now we have HDFS and MapReduce configured, and after this recap, we will start setting up on all these MapReduce as well as non-MapReduce based solutions. Okay, I'm stopping the recording for this.